Hi guys, Alex here or at Network A1A and welcome to a new video. So this is part 2 of episode 2 within our CCNA Labs series here on the Networking Labs channel. So within part 1 we configured our VTP, our Ether channel and our trunk and access ports. So if you guys want to see that, it is in the last video, but I'll just do a quick run through over the topology. So we have switch 1 as our VTP server, propagating our VLANs down to our distribution layer and then down to our access layer. We have an Ether channel configured, which is port 1 at our distribution layer. So this therefore adds additional redundancy in case a interface goes down on the port channel. Another interface, or the secondary interface which is bundled, can therefore continue to carry traffic over that port channel. And then we have our trunk links all configured here between all of our switches, and then we have VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, VLAN 10 on switch 4, VLAN 20 on switch 5, and then we have the appropriate access ports configured on those switches to correspond to the correct VLANs. So within this video we're going to be actually going over spanning tree. So it's just going to be spanning tree out of the box, as you will within this topology. We haven't made any changes, and we're just going to look at how the spanning tree topology will actually look within this layer 2 topology. So I've created some little paint diagrams here. So basically it's just the original spanning tree, the original topology. However, I've just added annotations as to the route ports, designated ports, route bridge, blocking ports, and how traffic will actually flow. So I've done this without actually having to look at any of the topologies. So what you actually have to do is, firstly, we're just going to go over spanning tree within Cisco. So by default, PVST Plus is the default spanning tree which is run on Cisco switches. So this therefore means that it uses 802.1d spanning tree on a per VLAN basis. Therefore, as it's running on a per VLAN basis, we need to use our extended system ID to differentiate between the spanning tree instances. So this therefore means that our bridge ID or bridge identifier on our switches is made up of a priority, which is 4 bits. We have our extended system ID, which is our VLAN identifier, which is 12 bits, and then we have our MAC address, which is obviously our 6-byte MAC address. So our priority, this can start from 0 and then goes up in increments of 4094, I believe. 0, or the lowest priority, wins the tie or wins the election to become the route bridge. So we have our priority. 32768 is the default, and then this is plus our extended system ID. So let's say, for example, our VLAN 10, we will have a priority of 32778 due to it adding the VLAN 10, and then we have our MAC address, which is mostly used as a tiebreaker, as most switches out of the box obviously will have the same priority. So in this case, let's have a look at what will become the route bridge. So as I said before, lowest bridge ID wins. So this therefore is priority, and then if they both have the, or if all switches have the same priority, we then go off of lowest MAC address. So out of the box here, VLAN 10, all switches have the same priority, which is 32768 plus our 10, which is our VLAN, so 32778. So we then look at our MAC address. So let's have a look at which has the lowest MAC address in this case. 0C34A60A. 0334A6FA, this guy is still the lowest. 0C34A678, this guy is still the lowest. 0C34A6C, 0 is lower than C, this guy is still the lowest. 034A67, 0 is lower than 7, this guy is our route bridge of our topology. So now let's get on to our our port roles. So I'm going to explain the port roles before we actually get into looking at the port roles on our specific switches. So the port roles, you have a route port. This is the lowest cost to the route bridge, and it is the port receiving the best BPDU on the bridge. So only non-route bridges have a route port, as obviously a route bridge can't have a route port, as it is the route bridge. It is the elected, the best bridge, the best switch out there. So if there is a tie on say our route ports are both receiving the same cost, or have the same cost to get to our route bridge, we therefore have a tie, so we have to break that tie, so we go off of the lowest neighbour bridge ID. However, two of our ports might be pointing up to the same distribution switch or core switch, so therefore we have to differentiate the tie there. So therefore we go off the lowest neighbour port priority. If the port priority is the same as the neighbour, then we go off the lowest neighbour port ID. So yeah, in this case, I'll just do a quick example here. We'll just go off of this one here, switch 4. Let's have a look at what will be elected the root port. So in this case, let's have a look. This guy has a cost of 4.8 to get to the root bridge. So he has a cost of 8. This guy has a cost of 4.8. So they both have the same cost. So they're both receiving the same BPDUs in order to get to the root bridge. So now we'll go off of the next tiebreaker, which is the lowest neighbor bridge ID. So this guy has a bridge ID of the priority. So the priority is both the same on the switches. So we'll go off of MAC address, as it is obviously out of the box. So we'll look at priority and then MAC address. But they both have the same priority, so we'll look at MAC. So 0C34A6FA, 0C34A67. This guy has a better MAC address or a lower MAC address, so we'll therefore, this will be his root port, and this will then, traffic will then be forwarded from this port all the way up to this guy and then out to there. So that is our root port election. Now we'll have a look at our designated port. So a designated port is the best port to use on a per segment basis in order to get to the root bridge. So it is the bridge that is forwarding the hellos with the lowest cost. So let's have a look at this guy here. So switch 3 and switch 2. So at our port channel, what will become the designated port on this port channel? So okay, they both have the same cost. So they're both forwarding the same hellos or same BPDUs in order to get to the root bridge, and that is going to be a cost of 4, so 4. So now we go on to our tiebreaker. So with the designated port, the tiebreaker goes off of lowest the lowest priority within the bridge ID. So it goes off of bridge ID, sorry, so it goes off lowest priority and then it goes off of the next tiebreaker, which is lowest MAC address. So we both have the same cost to get to the root, so our tiebreaker is our bridge ID. So who has the lowest priority will therefore win, and then who has the lowest MAC address will therefore win. We both have the same priority, as I've said earlier, as it is out of the box, so we both have a priority of 32768 plus our extension, which obviously is the VLAN. So we have to go off of MAC address. So which has the lowest MAC address on our switches? So this guy has a 034A6FA. This has a 034A67. This has the lowest MAC address. Therefore, this guy will become the designated port on this segment here. Let's try and have a look at another one. Let's have a look at this guy here. So switch 2 and switch 5. So switch 5 is receiving or has a cost in order to get on the per segment basis. Its BPDUs in order to get to the root bridge, sorry, is 4.8. So this guy's is 4. Therefore, this guy is going to become switch 2. This is going to become the designated port, as this guy actually has to traverse through another switch to get there. This guy just goes straight up to the root bridge. So therefore, switch 2, that one's done without a tiebreaker. That one is actually on that per segment. That switch 2 is actually sending and receiving the better BPDUs, which is going to be a cost of 4 in order to get to the root bridge. So let's have a look at how traffic will actually flow without us making any changes. So as you guys can see here, I'll just change this colour here. I believe it's this colour. Oh no, I think it's this yellow, yeah. So as you guys can see, PC1 forwards traffic into this switch 4 here. Okay, and now switch 4, it looks, what is my root port in order to get to the root bridge? So it says, okay, GI2/1 is my root port, so I'm going to forward traffic out of there to get to my root bridge. So traffic goes from there all the way to switch 3. Switch 3 looks and says, what is my root port in order to get to the root bridge? It looks at GI1/1 is its root port, and it will then, GI3/2 is its root port, and it will forward traffic out of there up to the root bridge, up to switch 1. Which in this case is the default gateway of PC1, as we haven't made any changes to the topology yet. So switch 1 is the default gateway, and then it will then pass traffic back from switch 1 down here. Say if it is to VLAN 10, so let's say if this guy forwards traffic to VLAN 10, traffic will go from switch 1 down to this guy, and then down then to switch 4 out to PC1. So let's have a look at VLAN 20. So as you guys can see, traffic also flows through switch 3 in this case. So we have the same root bridge as it's still out of the box, so obviously this guy's still going to have the same MAC address. And then we'll go on of PC2. So let's have a look at this guy's root port. So switch 5, the access layer or the access switch for PC2. Let's have a look why it's the root port. So it has a cost of 4.8 to get to the root bridge. GI2/0 has a cost of 48, so therefore the tiebreaker, the first initial tiebreaker is lowest neighbour bridge ID. So we'll have a look. 034A670, 034A6FA. So therefore switch 3 has our lowest MAC address, so it is going to be the designated root port on this segment here. So this guy's going to be the designated, as he's actually and this guy is sending the or receiving the better BPDU as the lowest cost to get to the root bridge, as obviously this switch 5 has to traverse through switch 3 in order to get to the root bridge. So on this ether channel here, this guy's still the designated port. That's due to them still both of these distribution switches are still connecting to that root bridge, and it therefore then still goes off of the lowest priority or lowest bid, so it goes off lowest priority, and then it goes off of lowest MAC address. So yeah, traffic therefore goes from this guy here through to switch 5, switch 3, and then up to switch 1, which is the root. So let's say for instance VLAN 20 wanted to go to VLAN 10. It will go through switch 5, through switch 3, through switch 1, and then on the way back to VLAN 10 it will go down from switch 1 to switch 3 to switch 4 out to this PC here. So as you guys can see, there is actually an issue here. Both of our VLANs are going through switch 3. So let's say if we had more than 2 VLANs, this might cause trouble, as this switch might just be being overworked as it's receiving lots of traffic, and then that link out to switch 1 might be being overutilized, GI3/2, as all traffic is then being forwarded out of that interface down to our switch, which is our root bridge. So in the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using rapid PVST plus. We'll explain that in the next video. It obviously changes our port states, as obviously when using traditional 802.1d you have your listening and learning, and your forwarding. It in 802.1w, which is rapid PVST or rapid spanning tree, sorry, you eliminate the whole listening stage just for faster transitioning through the spanning tree states. So we'll go through that within the next video. But if you also do want to look up that, obviously look at videos, look at books, so you can get more information on the new port roles, because there are additional port roles as well, and the different states that spanning tree goes through there. But yeah, so when we change it, when we go to rapid PVST plus, it's going to obviously make spanning tree traverse quicker when it changes, and it's also what we're also going to do is make traffic actually go through switch 2 on VLAN 10. So we're going to go from PC1 up to switch 4, up to switch 2, and then out to our route, so we can sort of balance traffic between the two switches at our distribution layer. And then say if switch 2 goes down, we're going to make this guy the backup for VLAN 10, so that if switch 2 goes down, we can still go through this route here from switch 4 up to switch 3 up to switch 1 while we wait for switch 2 to actually come back up. And then we can do the same for VLAN 20. If this guy goes down, because this one doesn't really need changing, but we'll change it, this guy as a route. So if this guy does go down, traffic can be forwarded like this out to our root bridge there. So in the next video, we'll actually go onto the CLI, we'll start configuring, making changes to spanning tree topology. But as you guys can see there, we don't actually need the CLI in order to see what our spanning tree topology will look like, our layer 2 topology will look like. We just need to have a topology, the MAC addresses, and then we can sort of predict the port roles and the root bridge, etc., from just using MAC addresses and then knowing what tiebreakers will cause what. So yeah, it's a great practice to do, not going into the CLI and just trying to do it yourself, and then verifying through the CLI, looking at the switch, if I've got that right, will this be the root port, will this be the root bridge, why will this be the root bridge, why will this be a designated port. So yeah, it's great practice to do. So yeah, I hope you guys have actually enjoyed this video. It's something different. We just sort of went through the topologies and explained the port roles and why this port will be this certain port, and why this root switch will be the root bridge, etc. Yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy it. We didn't go too in depth in terms of our actual BPDUs and why, how it is elected as the root bridge, like receiving hello BPDUs, configuration BPDUs, as obviously the root bridge sends BPDUs out every 2 seconds, etc. We won't go into that as it's too in depth, and I believe you should just like read about that or go to a specialized training provider who can actually teach you guys that within, like, they use great analogies. For example, I know Keith Barker If you want to look at Keith Barker, I'll put a link in the description. He has a great spanning tree video. I think it's spanning tree. Yeah, it's a great spanning tree video, free on YouTube. So I'll link that in the description below. Keith Barker's great. The guys at CBT Nuggets, INE, your OCG guys, which is your official Cisco certification guide. Look at that, read that, great information in there. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and it was something different. Follow me on Twitter at NetworkA1A. Like, subscribe, and yeah, hope to catch you guys in the next video. Leave me some, if you guys want to leave me like a comment on Twitter, or you want to talk to me on Twitter, go ahead and feel free to. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.